Now, I, like most of you, probably watched the images, particularly from last summer, of the Yazidi people trapped on the mountain and the various dreadful beheadings of hostages that we saw later that year, carried out by Islamic State, and were horrified and were hoping that somehow there was a solution somewhere in the mix to make this dreadful barbarity stop. Well, so far there hasn't been, has there? It's gone on, and in some instances it's got worse. I'm joined by Harry, a former currency trader who's just returned from 5 months fighting Islamic State alongside Kurdish forces in northern Syria. Do you support what he did? Do you want to talk to him? 0345 6060 973. Hello, Harry.
Hello. Thanks for having the show.
It's a pleasure. Glad you're back in one piece.
Yep.
Tell me what made you decide to go. What did you first see that made you sit up more than normal and say, oh, hang on a sec, this isn't a question of waiting for somebody to do something. I'm going to do something.
I think, like everyone else, as you were saying, I was completely shocked at the rise of the Islamic State and the speed as well of it. And then the fact they didn't distinguish between civilian, combatant, woman, child, man. And I just felt like there's got to be something I can do here. And it did actually cross my mind to join a charity, to donate money, but it just didn't seem like enough to me. I saw the rise of the so-called Islamic State as never-ending. Like it was just the beginning in Iraq and Syria. So perhaps by doing something, I could make a difference.
And did you fear its spread? Did you personally think, good God, I must admit, I did. Last summer when I was watching all these awful things unfold, I remember just thinking, just how pervasive can this group be? Did that get into you as well?
Yeah, 100%. I was. I didn't necessarily think that I would one day or sometime soon see the black flag of ISIS sort of over the top of Buckingham Palace or the House of Commons. But I did think to myself, what about the region? What about Lebanon? What about Jordan? The Arab Spring shows you exactly how fast these protests can spread and how quickly through social media that organisations can spring up from nowhere.
And in the case of the Arab Spring, spread and then be twisted and turned into something else.
Exactly, because I'm not saying the Arab Spring was a bad thing. Actually, it was great to see like the explosion of sort of human energy as people said, we want rights, we want democracy.
But it was an opportunity for different energy, wasn't it?
Exactly, sort of people to take advantage of that, and I was scared that they were going to make it worse.
So once you decided that charities and donations weren't sufficient for you, how quickly from that point were you on your way to Syria?
Well, I suppose it was by chance actually, because I did see a number of interviews by people who had already volunteered their time and actually gone out there to fight, and I thought to myself, it was a very difficult decision. I just thought to myself, what can I do to help? What difference can I make? I wasn't under any illusion that by fighting I was going to single-handedly win any fights. I wasn't going to help in that direction. I mean, there's plenty of young Kurds, young Yazidis, young Arabs who want to defeat ISIS themselves. But at least by coming out here, I could draw attention to the conflict and give it more of a sort of a personal human element that people in Britain could relate to or could see.
So how did you get to Syria?
Well, I contacted the YPG, the Kurdish People's Protection Force, online, and they sort of facilitated. I paid for a flight. I went out there and they picked me up from the airports and they smuggled me across the border.
In Turkey and across the border, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, actually, I flew to Turkey, to Istanbul, but then I flew on to Iraq, to Iraqi Kurdistan and crossed the border there.
You know, some people will be very supportive of what you did, but you, I guess, know as well, some people will think, well, hang on a sec, we're arresting young Muslim men who went out with exactly the same idealism as you for different reasons to fight for the other side. But you haven't been questioned, have you? You haven't.
No, I was actually quite surprised about that, I have to say. But then again, I think because I've been giving this much thought since in the past 24 hours since I've been back, and I do think that it's been well publicised exactly why I came out, that I came here for humanitarian reasons, that I wasn't here to force my ideology onto anybody, and I was coming to help. It would simply be a waste of time to prosecute me. I don't think it's in the public's interest.
But you call it humanitarian reasons. Now that often conjures up images of just handing out food and making sure people have bedding and are safe. But you did take up arms and you did fight.
Are safe, exactly. The Islamic State is, as I said before, doesn't distinguish between women and children and all the rest of it. And I just thought to myself, I want to go and I want to stop these people, and not only stop them, I want to start liberating the territory they've already taken. And it's been an incredibly difficult 5 months, and I've fought in a number of different areas of Rojava, which is the region in northeastern Syria. So I went with the intention of helping people. I wasn't handing out aid. That's true, but I was protecting people.
And if killing members of Islamic State or supporters of Islamic State was necessary to protect other people, you were prepared to do it?
Yes, 100%. 100%. It didn't even cross my mind. If anyone, because you just got to look at the ideology, the twisted, warped ideology of the Islamic State, and see that these people are, they're just. They have the very opposite values that I do as a person. I believe in democracy. I believe in freedom of speech, equality, and if anyone wants to have any political or religious view in the entire world, I'm totally fine with that. But what I do
don't
take
kill
issue
me for
with,
it.
Exactly. What drives me mad is anyone who tries to force their opinions on you.
Tell me about the most difficult thing that you found yourself caught up in here. You got a bit of training from the Kurds, didn't you? And then supported them in battle in various operations. How tough did it get?
Yeah, very tough. I mean, all across the entire region was. I was about to say infected with infected with ISIS, was overwhelmed by ISIS. They were everywhere, and so the difference between when I arrived and when I left is extraordinary. So I fought in a place called Tilhamas. Was the first major operation I took part in, and it was actually there that my friend and a great British guy died. Costa, Eric
Konstantinos, yeah,
that's correct. That was in Tilhamas, and then
you were fighting alongside him, were you?
I fought alongside him, but I wasn't with him when he died. Actually, I have to say, and I heard the circumstances of his death from friends of his and friends of mine who were with him. And I have to say, I think I've been saying this ever since I arrived back to everyone I've met, that the man deserves a medal. It's extraordinary that the guy died for purely sort of British values, for democracy, freedom of speech. He went out to help people, and he gave his life for them as well.
Have you spoken to his family?
I have, yeah. I told them what I knew about his death and what relationship I had with him, and what a lovely, awesome guy he was, and how every day after his death, for the following months, people would come up to me and say, people I'd never met before, and say, "Oh, did you know Costa?" And with tears in their eyes, relate funny stories how he had sat with them and eaten with them. And this is mostly Kurds, sorry, that are saying this.
And did his family, even though the worst happened and they lost him, do they understand why he did what he did? Do they admire what he did?
Yeah, I think they do. I hope and I think they draw a lot of strength from the fact that he was a wonderful person, that he was that he went to help people, and even though he made the ultimate sacrifice, it was for a very human cause.
And when you said that even in the time that you were there, you saw the spread of Islamic State, was that shocking to the Kurds that were trying to fight them? Did they feel overwhelmed? I mean, I'm getting to the politics of this. Do they need more support? They
really do. I think that they feel like they've got more enemies than friends. At the moment, the political situation is very, very complicated. And every time I've called for more help, people have turned around and said, "Oh, the political situation is too complicated."
And there are too many proxies in this war as well. Aren't there? You could argue you're a bit of a proxy. You could.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, I suppose that we've got to start thinking about what we want for the region. What we want really is secular democratic states. We want people to be happy. We want people to have peace and for no more war in the region. And the best way to do that is to start supporting the people that truly believe in those values.
Britain is providing quite a lot. It's providing a lot of support for airstrikes. It's providing huge amounts of humanitarian aid in the areas affected. Do you think it should be militarily, in noticeable numbers, be supporting the Kurds and others fighting Islamic State on the ground?
100%.
On the ground?
And not on the ground, sorry. No, I don't believe we should send troops in. That's not the right answer.
You went in.
I went in, but to draw attention, to encourage more help. I mean, the British government, it is doing bombing raids, that's correct. However, they're not doing enough. And I know plenty of British generals have been saying over the past few weeks that we could be doing so much more. And But we could also be offering political support as well. Why aren't we sort of saying to the Kurds, after years of persecution by Assad and now the past year of persecution by the Islamic State, we support your quest for democracy. We really do. Why don't we open sort of our arms to people who are looking for peace?
Because chaos reigns is probably the answer to that question. But
at the moment,
the difficulties you faced. Did you kill anyone from Islamic State?
To be honest, no. I went out there and I got into plenty of firefights. In some cases, I was very close. It was within sort of 30 meters. I could hear them shouting their sort of like battle cries, shouting Ali Akbar and all the rest of it. I never saw a man sort of stand up in front of me. I never shot him dead. So I would never claim that I killed anyone while I was there. But then again, I never went to kill people. I went to help. I came to protect people. So I'm leaving after all the successful operations I was part of with a deep sense of satisfaction. And
I know you can stay for another 15 minutes. Are you happy to take some calls from listeners? Because I'm sure people will be dying to have a chat with you.
Yeah,
great. Thanks very much indeed. Great to talk to you so far, Harry. Former businessman, currency. Are you going back to normal work, or are you going to do something?
I don't know how many people are going to. Well, I haven't decided. I don't think many people will employ an ex-freedom fighter or ex-fighter. So I might even perhaps write about my experiences. Okay. Maybe I don't know.
Harry, just back from 5 months fighting alongside Kurdish forces against Islamic State in northern Syria. If you want to talk to him, ask him a question, put some points to him. 0345 606 0973 is the number to call. You can text 84850 or tweet at LBC. It's 3:15.
I'm Amy Solomon in the LBC Travel Centre. 2 of the 4 lanes on the clockwise side of the M25 are closed now. That's between junctions 24 and 25. So Potters Bar around to Enfield. A coach has broken down. The police are on the scene with it, but there are queues on the approach. Also, along the A21, Farnborough Common, that remains closed in both directions between Hildervale Road and Welbrook Road for accident investigation works. That's causing queues southbound from the Fantail and northbound from Tubbenden Lane. In Chelsea, Albert's Bridge is blocked southbound, a car's broken down, and on the trains, London Overground remains suspended between Richmond and Willesden Junction. That's because of a signal failure this afternoon. Keeping London moving, your next travel update is in half an hour.
This is LBC.
Okay, here it comes. The question that will make you a winner. How much will it cost your business to send up to 100 parcels to your UK customers with leading delivery company Interlink Express?
100 parcels to 100 customers?
Have to hurry you. We need to wrap this up. Just like those parcels.
Sorry, nothing.
Correct! They're so sure a free trial will convince you to keep using them, they'll deliver up to 100 parcels for nothing. Just go to interlinkexpress.com and everyone's a winner.
New customers only. Conditions apply.
We love questions. From what zone am I in to how far is Cockfosters? Is this the right exit for Old Street to how many stops to Camden? So don't be afraid, go on, ask us anything. Well, within reason. We may not know where the world's longest single-span suspension bridge is, but we can help you with pretty much anything else. Apparently, it's the Akashi Kaikyo in Japan. We're moving staff into ticket halls so they can help you more effectively. All our stations will continue to be staffed whilst train services are running. Just part of the future of the tube. Search TfL Future Tube.
Transport for London. Every journey matters.
Vitabiotics helped pioneer the concept of different vitamins for men and women, creating Well Man for me
and Well Woman for me, with iron for energy release and vitamin D for my immune system.
Well Man and Well Woman from Vitabiotics, the UK's #1 vitamin company.
Available from Boots, pharmacies and vitabiotics.com.
Bars, stools, office chairs, shelving, whiteboards, plastic boxes, cleaning trolleys, cantilever rackets, lockers and ladders, kick steps, pallet trucks, safes and stackers, archive boxes, office.
AJ Products has over 15,000 products for office, school, warehouse and industry. You will find surprisingly more at ajproducts.co.uk.
If you run a business and you're near a computer, type the name of your company into Google now. Chances are everything you find will be good. But all it takes is one negative review and your reputation on any kind of digital and social media site can change just like that. Reputation.com can manage and improve your brand's image online to make sure potential customers find out about the good reputation you've worked so hard to build up. For a free report on your online reputation, And to find out how we can help, visit reputation.com.
Nick Ferrari at breakfast on LBC.
A British student, Eleanor Hawkins, who's 24, could be jailed for 3 months for stripping off on the revered peak in Malaysia.
Do you know, I have absolutely no... I hope this girl does go to jail for 3 months. It's absolutely shameful.
The locals believe that it's a sacred place, and that's part of the problem.
A pupil ordered to take off his hearing aid so he would look smart in a school photo.
Stigma is a big issue for those people with hearing loss. People feel that they ought to be embarrassed by having a hearing loss, that they look disabled or even stupid. And a story like this actually just only makes the situation worse.
Nick Ferrari at breakfast. Every weekday morning from 7 on LBC.
With Hampton by Hilton, with over 2,000 hotels worldwide.
You can watch live now on lbc.co.uk. My guest Harry, in the studio with me here in LBC, a former currency trader who's just returned from 5 months fighting in northern Syria, fighting alongside Kurdish forces, fighting against Islamic State. Is he a hero or a cause for concern? I'm sure it was a cause for concern for your mum when you were out there. What she said since she got back?
Well, she was naturally, obviously, she was very worried. She was trying to get me to come home. And after a while, she realised... Because I answered this question to a number of my friends who turned around and said, think about your mother and all the rest of it. But then again, I'm a 28-year-old man. Just because my mother's worried about me, it doesn't mean I should abandon my beliefs and come back.
Did she say, don't do this again?
She may have done.
Yes, she may have done, yes. Ma, Harry, I completely understand. Let's hear from Don in Mill Hill. Hi, Don.
Hi, Sheila. Hi, Harry. How are you? Everything okay?
Hi, Don.
Nice.
Could you say that again?
He said, is everything okay?
Yeah. Is everything okay? I'm very well, thanks, very well.
Nice. I was just, was saying it's a good job that you put your life for the others that you don't even know them. I mean, it's a hero thing that is. I mean, I was just wondering that are you going to do the same thing for the Palestinians in Israel? Because in Israel doing the same thing. They don't see no kids, no women, nothing. They're just killing left, right, center. I was thinking that if you're going to do the same thing for the Palestinians.
Well, I haven't got any plans to go out to Palestine, but of course I do support anyone who has limited rights, anyone who is being persecuted by another people. I will always support, and I do feel very strongly about the the Palestinian cause as well. I have to say I don't know a huge amount about the current political situation, but I do know that Israel needs to change. But
I know, and Don, this is something that Harry and I were talking about in the break just there. You decided to fight Islamic State because that's the last thing it is, a state. You wouldn't entertain joining forces against a formal state. But
that's right, yeah.
But with Islamic State, you regarded it as a...
Absolutely right.
Will you tell me? I don't want to put words
in the mouth. The Islamic State's obviously a barbaric terrorist organisation. In terms of the legality of being out there, I would never fight Assad or any other regime that's in place. It's illegal at the end of the day. But fighting the Islamic State is a little bit less controversial because they are a terrorist state.
Let's hear from Addy in the city. Hi, Addy.
Hi. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Well, what did you want to say to Harry?
Well, I didn't really want to say anything to Harry because it's up to him what he wants to do. At the end of the day, I also believe in freedom of expression and, the same values that we have here in this country. And it's unfortunate that my problem is with the LBC and the media, who will no doubt now will view him to the public as a hero, where people who have gone from the same point with their belief that they are going to help the people in Syria or anywhere in the world get arrested, and guess what? They had many laws passed very quickly in the parliament, in our great parliament, to actually stop them in their tracks. And here he comes and he boasts about it. And guess what? No one even talked to him. No one even stopped him at the airport to ask him what has he done and all this stuff. So,
well, Addy, if I'm traveling as a Muslim with a beard, if I am traveling back from the continent, I get stopped. You know why? Because it's a profile. You know why? Because of this. Even though I haven't even been anywhere, or I had no plans
of going there. So don't you think that by giving this gentleman a platform, you're actually tipping the balance, and you're not being fair, and you're not being really.
Well, Adley, can I say something? Can I say something? Just to respond to what you said about LBC presenting Harry as a hero. Well, look, our question is he a hero or has he done the wrong thing? So that puts that to bed. We're not presenting Harry as. Well, hang on. Let me finish. We're just talking to Harry about what he did, and one of the first things I said to him, if you were listening, was that there will be people who've gone out for different reasons, but with just as much idealism as him to fight on the other side. I've made that point. So LBC isn't presenting Harry as anything. We're just speaking to him.
You haven't actually you haven't got any guests from the other side. You haven't even welcomed anybody, and you always seem, even in your reports and in many situations.
Well, I think I'd love to inject at some point as well, Addy.
Sorry, let me just finish, because I know we haven't got much time, and I have no criticism.
We've got plenty of time.
Okay, fine. In fact, I admire you as a person for what you have gone out to do. My problem is not with you, Harry, or anyone who would feel strongly enough, especially if he's backed up by good values and faith and belief. That's fine. I have no problem with you at all. My problem is with the institution that has actually welcomed you. If they believe in justice, and if they believe in British values and fairness and good journalism, they should have long before you. This situation has come up with lots of Muslims going there to help their brothers, and sometimes not even to take up arms, just to go and on their way
and
back.
To help. No, I understand. I totally understand. It's just because there has been accusations of double standards, because I did go through Heathrow without a problem. However, let's be quite clear now that the British law says that you can't join a group that's fighting against Assad. Now, all the British people that are going out to fight, they're not fighting just the Islamic State. They're joining organisations that are also fighting Assad, the Free Syrian Army, for instance. And I do sympathise with young men who truly passionately believe in democracy and want to make a difference. But at the end of the day, as a British subject, as a British citizen, you do have to stick to British law. And I was very, very careful. And I think that's why I wasn't stopped, that I joined the Kurds, who weren't fighting Assad, who were just fighting the Islamic State. And yeah, I mean, it's some of the groups out there, like the Al-Nusra Front and all the rest of it, and even some groups that are related to the Free Syrian Army still have values that are very different to what we expect in the UK. So it is a very complicated situation.
Jassim's called from Winchmore Hill. Jassim, what did you want to say?
Sorry, it's Kasim.
Sorry.
Kasim. Yes, I am. It's the first time I'm calling. I just wanted to speak to Harry. I'm actually Kurdish. I was born and bred in London. My parents were exiled from Turkey for being Kurdish, for their political beliefs and all their political background related to Kurdish problems. And I've lived in the UK since, I was born and bred here. And I really admire what you've done, Harry. I would just like to say thank you. I really do think, you've done a lot. You've done things that a lot of us can't bear to do. I mean, we can't just leave our lives here and just move on to support the Kurdish struggle and support what the Islamic State is doing. I mean, it's unbelievable. A lot of the UK media doesn't actually show what's actually happening in the Turkish side of the Kurdish problems, in the Syrian side and in the Iraqi side. There's kids dying. There's a lot of problems, and it's unbelievable. And the fact that you've been there and you've done this, I really, really think you're a hero. I mean, I just want to say thank you, to be honest with you, and I really believe in what you've done and what you've struggled for.
No, I really appreciate that. I mean, I do get messages from support on Facebook. I've got because I've got numerous fake names, my Harry being one of them, if I'm honest. Mesa Gifford is my Facebook page. Oh, thank you. Well, I mean, in terms of the going out there and helping, it was at the end of the day, it was the right thing to do. So whenever someone thanks me, it's really touching and it really means so much to me. But at the end of the day, I know that what I was doing was right.
And it won't surprise you that...
your cause. I believe in your cause. I mean, we support it from here as well. We supported the Kurdish struggle from here. I mean, all the Turkish Kurdish community over here and the Iraqi Kurdish community, the Syrian Kurdish community.
That's
they
good.
really support it. And politically, I think a lot of people don't understand that, you know, the struggles that the Kurdish people have had for years and years and years. I mean, this is going back centuries, and it's come to a point where we can't even think Kurdish anymore. We can't even we can't even think Kurdish in our own country back home. It's come to that state.
Kasim, I'm going to have to stop you if I may, because I'm keen to get Hassan's call in just before the news and just before we lose Harry as well. Hassan in Camberwell, hi.
Yes, first of all, Harry, I want to say thank God you came back safely. And I've had a lot to take the courage to go there and fight. But the other thing I want to ask you, how would you compare yourself to the Assad fighters and the Hezbollah fighters fighting this ISIS, doing the same cause as you are? How do you compare yourself, and how are we going to take them compared to you?
Do you mean? Sorry, you broke up there. Was it Assad? Did you say compare myself to the fighters?
Assad fighting because there is now a shared enemy there, isn't there?
There is. Well, Assad is fighting the Islamic State, but then again, Assad, Islamic State is one of the best things that happened to Assad in terms of the Free Syrian Army and dividing the opposition against him. Look, Assad is a dictator at the end of the day. He inherited the presidency from his father. I truly, passionately believe in democracy. I think that Assad should step down and that all of Syria should unite together under a sort of perhaps a federal system and work towards peace. Then again, that's just my opinion. I'm a British subject, and I shouldn't. I don't mean to force my opinions on other people. But the reason I went out there wasn't to fight Assad, wasn't to choose a political system for the country. It was merely to protect people, to stop the Islamic State, and to take the fight to them.
Harry, thank you for coming in. Thanks for taking calls from people as well. Former currency trader, just returned from 5 months fighting in northern Syria, fighting Islamic State, supporting the Kurdish forces who are fighting IS in northern Syria. It is a British man like Harry right to go and do this. He wasn't fighting a state, another country. He was fighting this group, Islamic State. Was he right to go or not? 0345 6060 973.